All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays. This is going to be a preview of our very special episode that's going to take place on Monday. And I'm going to try and keep it going for at least 8 hours, maybe more. Maybe we'll try 12. It really depends how long YouTube allows you to stream into it with a single stream. And also a little bit dependent on the time of the halving. So this will be my last show before the halving. I don't plan to make any shows tomorrow. I plan to just spend the next 36 hours promoting the upcoming 8-hour live stream, sending out links to people, and just promoting it all over social media. Hopefully, a lot of people will come and watch. That is what's on the cards. All right, let's go to screen share. Let me pull out your live chat. And we go from there. Close this. I don't need that anymore. And yep, we are good to go. Okay, let's go to screen share. All right, we begin with the clock. We are seeing where we are. I don't know if this is the most accurate Bitcoin clock. This is the only one I've been watching. But we will know when the halving is about to come. I will probably start streaming around this time. I'm debating if I should start streaming early in the day, if we should start streaming like 6 or 7 hours before, because more people are awake. Asia is still kind of awake, and Europe is fully awake. I don't want to start streaming at, say, 8 p.m. Eastern time, because then Europe is already going to sleep, or most of Europe is already asleep. Asia is just waking up. So I'm trying to make a stream where everyone's happy. I'm going to send out the link to the Zoom session to probably 40, 50 people, and we will see who joins. They can join randomly. They can join and then leave. It doesn't really matter. Hopefully people will come and hang out with us. If not, it will be just me. If no one shows up, if no one likes Tone Vays, that's fine too. I will stay with you. We will cover the price. We will do an 8-hour long Q&A. But I'm sure people will come and hang out on a live stream for this epic 4-year event. All right. Before we begin, you know what? Maybe I'll mention it a little later. Let's just jump right into it. I just want to briefly say, hey guys, some of you tried the Embly link and it wasn't working. They were redoing their website. It's working now. There's a new affiliate link that is now on the back of this, so you can just click on this, and now it should work. Please support with the affiliate page. Oh, my Embly card is in my wallet because I actually left the apartment for a few minutes, so I don't have it on my desk to show you. Financial Summit in Bali in November, Understanding Bitcoin in Malta in October. All right. I'm not going to talk much about the stock market, so we're just going to glance at the charts real quick to see where they closed. And we are right at resistance. We are right at Fibonacci resistance. On the daily chart, we are right at Lucid Saw resistance. And there is another set of resistance right above. This to me feels like a double top. And at the moment, I am actually bullish the stock market going into Monday. I think this is the first weekend in months that I've been bullish going into Monday. And of course, that means the market will probably crash. But I am bullish into Monday. This is a bullish sign to me. We close right at resistance at double top. We've been at this resistance before, and I am looking for a breakout and then probably a rejection in the $3,000 zone. Quick peek at oil. Oil is hanging in there. We're on a 7 of 9 sequential. Oh, what's the sequential count here? Sequential is, oh, this is the wrong one. Oh yeah, this is the future. So sequential is on a 2 of 9. So we're just getting started. Yeah, 2 of 9. We're just getting started. So I have to be bullish the stock market based on TA. Who cares about fundamentals? Clearly, they are irrelevant. Oil is still bullish. It's on a 7. We'll probably get to the 9, but this is 6 and that's 5. Yeah, I would like to see a 9 in oil and see a top in oil sometime next week. Running through these fast because they're not that important. Silver is bullish. Green 2 above a green 1, approaching the prior swing high. Very bullish pattern. I am now bullish silver. Gold. Gold is not as bullish, but very similar to silver. Gold is making, whoa, my desk is moving. That's not right. That's not good. So gold is also on a green 2 that went above a green 1. It's not as clean. We're working on approaching the double top. I'm not in gold or silver right now, but if gold goes any higher next week, that's definitely a good entry. Now this takes us to Bitcoin. I'm loving the fact that Bitcoin is rising versus shitcoins. And this trend I fully expect to continue. After the halving, we will see. I am still expecting gold to pull back based on TA. This is actually a 9 on a daily scale. If we go to the daily chart of Bitcoin dominance, we top right on a 9 and pull immediately down. This is the 9 has been very good to the Bitcoin dominance chart. Well, not really good, but the 9 has been accurate within the Bitcoin dominance chart. This is probably a 1 to 4 candle pullback, and I am expecting this to start rising into the countdown phase, approach 70, and then 80, and then 90, and then 95, and then 98, and then 99, until all shitcoins eventually die. That is going to be the future. They have absolutely no relevance in the long term. Bitcoin miner profitability. Probably a few weeks after the halving, I will take this chart off the radar because this is just very, very interesting. Here's the last halving that took place. It was in July. It was on around July 4th of last year. And we came back and we touched this line. I think there is a possibility of us touching that line. In order for us to touch this line, we would need to go to approximately $6,000 after the halving. That's where this line is. Right now, it's at 3,000. But this reward would get cut in half. So after the halving, it's very possible we're going to fall right over here. It doesn't have to be right away. It could be later in the summer. We will see. Now, miner hash rate. Very curious what's going to happen here after the halving. We'll probably take a big dip. I have to probably adjust this. This is always changing. It's the weekly scale. And here we are with where the miners stand. All right, GBTC, a little disappointed. I'm not currently holding any GBTC. I pulled out of GBTC around 950, 980-ish. So I got out of GBTC over here. And before the, what do you call them? The premium went up, and that's what's causing this red line to go higher, the GBTC premium. But I am still looking for a pullback, and I'm pretty confident I'll be able to get back in at a lower price that I got out. It would have been nice to still be in, but I'm using it for some short-term trading. I still have my HODL position, and that's what I'm focused on. I don't know why I have the CME futures here. I don't trade the CME futures on Bitcoin. I don't care about the futures gap, so I'm going to stop looking at this chart. We're moving our way backwards today. We're already at 800 viewers. Thank you guys for spending your Saturday with me. Please like, please subscribe, and hit the bell. If you're not receiving the notifications, make sure you hit that bell icon, and also keep an eye on Twitter where I always tweet out. You could also hit the bell and get notified on my tweets. I don't spam tweet. I don't retweet other people. It's almost a miracle that I retweet someone else. It almost never happens, even when it's good. Even when someone's write something good on Twitter, I almost never retweet. I like to use my Twitter for my original content. I only retweet stuff if I'm involved in it. Like if someone is interviewing me and they tweet that out, of course I'll retweet that. But as far as other people's original content, I very, very rarely retweet it. And asking me to retweet something of yours is probably the fastest way to get blocked or never have me actually retweet it. I get those messages all the time, and I really don't like them. So let's look at the short-term chart. And this is the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart did end up making a 9. I didn't expect it. we only had a few hours. We were more than halfway through the candle, and we were sitting at the bottom of the candle, but it rallied. Had a nice little rally back to 10,000, and we did have a 9. It was a quasi 9. It didn't hold the 9, and we pulled back, and looks like the moving average is currently pulling us back up. We went as low as 9,500, just like on this move here from the top, from the ultimate top. We went down. Oh, I'm sorry, not the ultimate top. Sorry, over here, this top, the prior top, the one that I thought was going to be the top. We pulled all the way down to 8,500. I was looking for 8. And then we consolidated and then broke out. We made it to a new high just over 10,000. I am still looking for that $8,000 zone. That $8,000 zone has not gone away from me. If we look at the RSI, that is very clear divergence in the RSI. This is literally what the definition of divergence is. You have a higher swing high from here, from April 30th into May 7th. You have a very clear swing high on all levels, intra candle, intraday, daily close, everything. But though this is the 4-hour chart, your RSI is clearly higher here than it is there. Let's take a look at the MACD. The MACD is very clearly higher here than it is there. Let's take a look at CMF. Very clearly higher here than it is here. You have very clean-cut divergence across the board. Now, what does that mean? This is something from the Vays educational course on intro trading. What does that mean when you have a very clear divergence and you have clearly turned to the downside? Now, the halving is a very special event. So anything goes with the halving, but under normal conditions, without crazy halvings or earnings announcements or FDA announcements or Trump speeches, without any kind of event specific to your asset, what you can expect after a divergence, and the only thing you could expect after a divergence, is that you're going to swing lower than the swing low from the first high. So here is that swing low, this one or potentially this one, because it was more clear. Either way, this divergence is signaling that you are going to swing lower than these lows. And these lows are in the $8,500 range. So this means I am still looking for 8,000 and probably around this moving average. It's the 200 4-hour moving average. Okay. So that's what I'm still looking at. I'm still looking for a pullback. I have not sold any of my HODL stash, but I did, like I said, get out of my short-term trade over here. I took the 9K exit. Right now we're at 97. Okay. Let's look at the daily chart. The daily chart is not going to show the same divergence. Oh, maybe it will. No, the daily chart is not showing you divergence, which is very, very interesting. The daily chart is, of course, more important than the 4-hour chart. Let's look at the daily chart. Let's look at the oscillators first. So BitMEX is back to slightly favoring the bears, but the spread is still favoring the bulls. Until both of these things are swinging to the upside, the bulls still can win on this one. This is where the bears will definitely have a huge advantage, and we crashed. And this is where, this is where the bulls will have a huge advantage, and we have been rising like crazy. Traders on BitMEX are always going to be wrong in the intermediate term. This is what this is telling you, and it's been incredibly correct. This is the same thing, just not, actually, I don't even need this one anymore if I have the other one. I'm going to drop this one. I like the other one better. This way I have more room. Now, the RSI is not giving you divergence. The RSI is telling you that we are good. The RSI is telling you to stay with the long trade. The RSI will only tell you to get out of the long trade and potentially enter the bear trade if it breaks this 70 line, which of course you can adjust. The MACD continues to signal higher highs. The MACD is very bullish. but the MACD is usually very late to the party. As you can see, the MACD didn't give you a buy signal until March 21st. If you look at this, March 21st, oh boy, were you late. By March 21st, we have already moved from 3,800 all the way to 7,100 by March 20th. So we were already up over 100%, or just under 100% by the time the MACD decided to, come to the party. All right, let's look at the price action. Price action is, of course, king, and it's the most important part of your analysis. And the price action is telling me that we are topping. The 9 is coming. I will not be streaming tomorrow. I'm going to take the day to relax and prepare for the epic halving. It's a once in a 4-year event. Hey guys, you should watch the last halving. I believe it took place on the World Crypto Network. That would have been 2016 July. My YouTube channel was not up yet. I did not start my YouTube channel until October of that year. So this would have taken place on the World Crypto Network. So if you are bored tomorrow, we can go and search for it. World Crypto Network halving. And we did an epic 8-hour stream on there. We got to find it. I don't remember where it was, but the epic halving show, maybe it wasn't 8 hours. I'm going to go search for it. You know what date it was. I don't want to do it live on camera, but I will be tweeting it out. I'll probably put it in this video description. And definitely check that out. That show was a lot of fun. And I'm sure the World Crypto Network and Thomas Hunt will be doing it again. Everyone's doing it. There's conferences going on. There's going to be all kinds of competition for your eyeballs on this epic day. Hopefully, people will come to the Tone Vays channel. I see a bunch of questions. I got some help today. Throw them in there. Throw them in my Telegram questions group. I have a couple of people there. I see your question, crypto chains. Bernoulli, throw crypto chains this question in there. I'll take a look at it as well. Okay. I'll find that stream and I will, of course, tweet it out for you guys. So where were we? Bitcoin. Let's go back. So I am looking for a topping in this area because the 9 is coming. The 9 will be here in about 5.5 hours. It will probably not be a perfected 9. In order to be a perfected 9, we need to swing and make a new swing high. I'm not sure that we will. So this candle here closed at exactly 10,000. This is a problem for me personally because now I don't know if I am 7 days lost into my bet or 6. The bet was Bitcoin will not close more than 90 times this year above 10,000, and the close on Bitstamp was at exactly 10,000. And half the exchanges closed below, half the exchanges closed above, and this was the middle. So but it doesn't matter because if Bitcoin closes say 100 days above 10,000, then it doesn't matter. And if it closes say 80 days below 10,000, then it doesn't matter. The thing is, if Bitcoin closes exactly 90 days above or below 10,000, this is going to be one of the question mark days. So we will deal with it later on. But it's amazing how it closed at exactly 10,000 on Bitstamp. That is a huge coincidence. So I don't believe we're going to get the perfected 9. It's possible. It is possible that in the next 30 hours, we will swing higher than $10,084, wherever it was, $10,075. It's possible. I don't think it's very likely. I think we are pulling back. I think we're going to pull back into the halving, and we're going to pull back through the halving. I am still looking for a very orderly pullback down to the $8,000 zone where excellent support I lost my stream as usual. I don't know why this always happens. I hope my audio's. Let me see. Getting some weird messages about audio. So as usual, the stream gets cut off. Let's go back to. I hope this doesn't happen too often when we're actually on doing the 8-hour stream. Let me know about the audio. Hopefully the audio is good, and we are back in business. Okay. So I don't remember what I was saying because I got interrupted by the dead internet. Okay, so I am still looking for a pullback. The pullback doesn't have to come. You should hold on to your Bitcoin. If there was ever a time to hodl your Bitcoin, it's been since this crash. Since this crash, I've been screaming. I haven't been a bull in over 2 years. And now that I'm a bull, people are texting me saying, Tone, I sold my Bitcoin. When do I buy back? And my answer is stop selling. Just stop selling. Unless you are a trader, unless that is your profession. This is not the environment to sell. The next 3 to 4 years is not the environment to sell. You know when the environment to sell was? The prior 2 years. This is not it. Okay, guys, please hold on. Hodl your Bitcoin. I'm doing this show for active traders. If you're not an active trader, don't listen to these nines and sell unless it goes exponential. And this is not yet exponential. It's close, but not yet. Okay, so please stop selling. And then you won't complain that Tone told you to sell. Just because I sold my short-term trade, it doesn't mean that I should have just held on to it through the halving. But remember, that's a small part. That's a small part of what I'm doing. I trade traditional markets. I find them to be a lot easier and a lot easier to predict, and I make a lot more money trading traditional markets than I do trading Bitcoin on an unregulated casino. So I prefer my regulated markets. The leverage is just as good. Okay. I don't really want to look at any stocks today, guys. It's the weekend. We're talking about Bitcoin halving. Let's stick to. I'll look at CCL only because it's a super chat question. I'll look at it right now, real quick. But I don't really want to look at stocks today. I don't care about stocks today. I only care about Bitcoin today. There's not much to say about stocks. I mean, everything is rebounding. CCL is, everything is rebounding. The cruise lines, there's nothing to say, really. It's on a red 5 of 9. It's in a consolidation mode. There's really nothing to say. I'm holding Norwegian, not Carnival, but they're all about the same. So there's just really no comment. It can go up, it can go down. I don't have, I'm not leaning one way or another. Tone, is there any point to trade with a short stack like less than 300? The only reason to trade with less than 300 is to learn how to trade. If you think you're going to turn 300 into 3 million, it's possible. People have done it, but I will bet my entire life savings against it every time. So the only usefulness to trading with 300 is to trade $1 at a time, maybe $5 at a time, and become a better trader so that you can then potentially get a job with a hedge fund that will let you trade some more capital. Because turning 300 into, I believe you need at least $25,000 to trade. That's me. I'm sure there are 15-year-old shitcoiners that started trading with $3 and turned it into $1 million that would laugh at that statement. But I agree with the US regulations that you need at least $25,000 in an account to be able to trade as a day trader. Now, you don't have to be a day trader. You could be a non-day trader, and for that, you don't need $25,000. But I'm a believer that if you don't have 25,000 in a trading account, you will not be able to trade successfully. You will only be able to trade scared money. And trading scared money is usually a disaster. So the only usefulness you have with trading a $300 account is to just spend a couple of years and become a better trader. I do recommend that you're better off trading with 300 and taking on $2 to $5 positions because that's real money on the line, even if it's only $5. If you treat it like 5,000 instead of 5, it is real money on the line and it matters. I find that to be better than trading, let's say, fake money. So even playing online poker, let's say a $10 game with 1 and 2 penny blinds against people that also care about their $10. Like, you don't want to play in that game with, let's say, a millionaire who doesn't care about his $10, right? So you want people taking it as seriously as you do. I think that's a better way to do it than trading with completely fake money. But that's my only advice. We're getting way off the topic. I want to talk about price of Bitcoin. I got to stop looking at the live chat because I go on these tangents on questions that most people, I'm not sure, want to hear or not. This is why we're going to open up Zoom. We're going to open probably sometime later this month. Hopefully, I'm going to have a subscription for Q&As like that. They're not going to be public anymore. They're going to be more private. My public videos are just going to be my look at the price, and then I'll probably take the Q&A into a private session. Okay, so the daily chart is still the most important chart to me. And to me, it looks like it's ready to pull back. The 9's coming, and it will help pull it back. The Lucid SAR is still telling you stay bullish. We can certainly go higher from here. This is a known unknown. You know the halving's coming. You don't know what's going to happen to the price. Nobody does. Okay. When I wrote my article at the start of the year, let's go to the weekly chart. When I wrote my article at the start of the year, the price of Bitcoin was right here. So this is when I wrote this article. I wrote my article January 3rd. It was during this candle. The price of Bitcoin was $7,300 when I wrote my article on what I see for Bitcoin. And we can go back to that article, actually. Let's go check that out. I'm going to go to my blog. Hey, guys, please use the affiliate page. If you want to support this here podcast, please hit the like button, subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications. Of course, you can check out the on-demand videos. The options class is there now, along with all the other stuff. These are all the products and services. No workshops at this time. Trading alerts are probably going to launch this year, along with the Zoom. These are the subscription services. I have not really been doing consulting, but I got to write this page up. Maybe I'll do consulting again. Who knows? I don't know when I'll find the time. Let's go to the blog. So the blog, I'll be writing another food update. This is the Tone Vays diet and nutrition plan for 2020. I have been pretty good. This lockdown has actually helped me stay with this diet. But we're going to go to the article I wrote right before that. And this was my outlook for Bitcoin. If we look at part 5 of my outlook for Bitcoin, I say no new all-time high in price for this year. Okay. And I highlighted this part. So when am I expecting this final low from the current mini bear, from the $14,000 swing high in June? Okay, let me just read this quickly. So when am I expecting this final low from the current mini bear from the $14,000 swing high in June, and at what price target? Short answer, before the halving and in the vicinity of 5,000. I did not edit this blog post. I can edit this blog post. I did not edit this blog post. You can go to the video of the first week of January when I wrote this. I don't know if I could have been any more right. We hit a low around 5,000. We only stayed below 5,000 a total of 2 or 3 days, and we are now back up. So this was the low I was looking for. Okay. Now, if you read the rest of this, let's read the rest of it. But here is the longer and more detailed explanation. Now that many are expecting a bottom near 5,000, it is less likely to occur. Will it now fall that low or overshoot? We overshot for a short amount of time. No one knows, so we have to wait and see. This swing low occurring after the halving will be very unexpected by the community and downright scary. Perhaps this is what is needed to turn the tide and have Bitcoin go to new all-time highs while the majority is scared. However, this is the bold part. This is the part I was actually expecting. That is what happened in 2017 as Bitcoin went up, despite the fact that most were scared of the fork and thought Bitcoin is going to die. Because I am still expecting a lower low in the $5,000 vicinity before the halving, but not ruling out after, it will take time to climb back above 10,000. I very clearly say above. This is why I am also expecting Bitcoin price to spend the majority of the year below 10,000 and close out the year in the vicinity of 10,000. After 2 years of being a bear 80% of the time since January 18, 2020, should be the year, January 2018, 2020 should be the year I turn bullish and stay that way 80% of the time into the next pump, which I'm not expecting until the vicinity of next halving. Not this halving, next halving, okay? Everything I wrote on January 3rd, I am staying with this. Please reread it. I have no reason to change my mind yet, because while we did breach 10,000 on 2 occasions, we breached them for an unreasonably short amount of time and for a very small price swing. We breached 10,000 by $500 back in February for about 2 or 3 days, and we breached it by $75 for a few hours the other day. So until we have sustained a price of Bitcoin above 10,000, I will stick to my guns. Here's the picture that I posted on my blog at that time. This fall here, if you go straight down, is probably a little bit later. This looks like around April, but I was damn close. This is what I was expecting. And now I did not expect us to, remember, we swung higher. We swung into 10,000 in February. So we did not go straight down into 5K. We went higher into 10,000. Then we fell down into here. And now here comes June. And I still expected us to be pretty low. I actually expected us to consolidate, in this $5,000 to $6,000, $7,000 zone. So clearly we are sitting here, but I still think we're going to pull back. This was my outlook. I was not expecting, so my outlook here is still pretty damn pessimistic compared to where we are right now. Because as you can see, I was looking for that $10,000. Yeah, so maybe I should have raised this a little bit. Remember, we were sitting at a time where things looked very scary. This is very early in the year. Okay, going into 2020, things were not as bright. And then we just went straight up after I wrote that article. So we can still have some consolidation. But right now, I would raise this up a little bit. I would raise this up. This would still touch where it is. But this swing here is already happening up there. So we'll probably break out earlier, but I'm still sticking with what I wrote. No reason to change my mind yet. Okay. So there you go. That was my outlook. That still is my outlook. We have 1,200 live viewers, guys. Thank you for the support. Please hit that like button. Okay, so that was the daily chart. Let's go up the scale. Let's look at the weekly chart. Let's look at the oscillators first. You can see that the RSI looks very, very healthy and it's pointing to more upside. Let's look at the MACD. The MACD is not 100% healthy, but it's still pointing to more upside. Let's look at the CMF. The CMF is not exactly healthy either, but it is pointing to more upside. You can see how the CMF is making lower swing highs, but it's also making made a higher swing low. So the CMF is consolidating in a triangle, and it will eventually break out one way or another. Let's look at the price action. The price action on a weekly chart is relatively bullish. We are pulling back, and we have this close coming up in approximately 30 hours. So in 30 hours, it would be very, very interesting if we will or won't break this trend line. By the way, if we don't break this trend line, there is nothing stopping me from raising this trend line to here. Raising the trend line to right there still makes it a clean, valid trend line. So there is, some discretion that could be used. I'm going to stick with this trend line, and I want to see if we actually close above or below it and what happens next week. The most important part going for the weekly chart is the fact that it's on a green 5 sequential, though the last time we topped on the following week's candle. The green 5 sequential tells me that it's possible for us to go higher. I love this double top, and this double top will certainly be broken sooner than later. Depending on how big or wide this pullback is off of 10,000, if it even happens, I am probably a bigger bull now because we made a double top. I didn't think we would get this high pre-halving. I didn't. Now that we did, it makes me more bullish. It's still possible to have a pullback all the way down to the $7,000 area, making the ultimate inverse head and shoulders we could make. And then when we get back to 10,000, somewhere around the end of the year or maybe earlier, this would be an epic move, because right here from the neck down is approximately 6,000. If you use candle bodies, maybe it's 4,000. Okay, that's going to be your projection. If you break out above 10,000 later this year, you will have at least a $4,000 upside projection at the least. Okay. Okay, let's look at some of your questions. This is the monthly chart. I maybe haven't looked at it in a while. The monthly is giving you a green 2 above a green 1, which is very good. It doesn't happen that often, and when it does, good things usually happen. Now, last time it happened, bad things happened. The prior time, it was very good. Let's go backwards. It didn't happen anywhere there. So the time before that, it didn't happen here. The time before that was right here. Green 2 above a green 1 above a 9. Very beautiful buy. I was probably the biggest bull in the world on the price of Bitcoin right here when we were breaking the prior all-time high. Incredible. The time prior to that was a tricky one. That was a green 5 going above a green 4. That was a tricky one. I don't like to enter my trades that late, but on a monthly scale, it's certainly okay. The prior one, green 2 above a green 1, was right off the end of the bear market, which is great. The one before that was not very good because you went up, sure, but then you made a very bad low. So this one here is very reminiscent of what happened right here. They're very similar. You think you're done, and then boom, you get a capitulation. You think you're done, and then boom, you get one more capitulation. The next one worked out really well. So this could be it. Could very well be it. That's a nice one. Now, the other thing I want to caution is, I had another thought in mind, but no, I mean, this is definitely more bullish than it is caution sign. The last one didn't work out, but this one probably will. This makes me more bullish. Look at your moving averages on a monthly scale. They are very bullish. This is a very good sign. Okay. This doesn't mean that this candle can't pull back. Remember, I am not looking for new lows. I'm not expecting us to ever go below 5,000-6,000 again. So this candle can easily pull back. And then we don't need to cross this $9,000 area for 3 more months. We will still have bullish counts. Okay. We'll still have bullish counts. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one needs to stay a green too, as long as it closes above this candle. So we can still pull back in this candle, come back up. Then the next 2 candles have some leeway to pull us back and stay with the green count. It's going to be interesting. Okay, RSI. RSI is pretty bullish to me on this one. MACD. MACD is a little neutral. I would like to see this cross in a couple of weeks, couple of months, and then we're good to go. My final chart is the long-term outlook. Let's wait for this week to close, and we will certainly adjust this wave 7 of hyperwave and see where we stand. I still stand by this. Let's just wait till the halving goes. We have the candle ending on Sunday, the halving on Monday. So by next Sunday, so a week from this weekend, we will have a lot more clarity on this. All right. Do I want to do questions, or do I want to talk about Paul Tudor Jones? Let's take a little break and take some questions, and then I'm going to talk about Paul Tudor Jones. Okay, let's see what we got. Crypto chain. Let's see what you got for me. Hi, Tone. Don't you think too many indicators on a chart can cause confusion for trading? Some stock traders suggest just using moving average lines, support and resistance. I agree. Too many indicators are bad, and I hate having too many indicators on a chart. But here is my pushback to those that have a lot of indicators. When you look at somebody else's chart and they have a lot of indicators, you don't know if they're treating every indicator as equal. If you have, let's say, 5 or 6 indicators and they all equal, you're a disaster. But in my case, even if I look at the daily chart, which probably has the most number of indicators, I have a very, very clean hierarchy. Very clean hierarchy. It starts with, so before I even get to the daily chart, okay, here's the tone Vays hierarchy. I look at the weekly chart, and the weekly chart is almost like my fundamental analysis chart. Is Bitcoin bullish or bearish from a macro level perspective? And from a macro level perspective, Bitcoin is bullish. Now, the weekly chart goes through its own progression, but the weekly chart is bullish to me. The moving averages are getting ready to cross. They're rising. We're in an uptrend. We're on a 5 of 9 sequential. We're at resistance, but being at resistance doesn't stop you from being bullish. So my weekly chart is bullish. So I walk into the daily chart with a bullish bias. Now I go through my progression. Is the BitMEX funding rate, which is actually pretty important, is the BitMEX funding rate favoring the bullish bias case, or is it favoring the bearish case? It is slightly favoring the bearish case, very slightly, but it definitely has more room to the upside. So that means I'm still bullish. Now I go through the daily hierarchy. The most important thing to me is the candle, the shape of the candle. This is a huge reversal candle. The shape of the candle is the most important part to me. This was a very bullish candle. This was a break in the action. This is a break in the action. Candlestick charting, candlestick patterns are my most important part. The first thing I see, candlesticks. What are the candlesticks telling me? Not much. The candlesticks at the moment are actually pretty neutral. The second most important thing to me is chart patterns. This triangle is the second most important thing to me, but this triangle has already reached its target. If we were sitting right here on this 5 candle, I would still be very, very bullish because of the chart pattern. Right here, I was waiting for the breakout of the chart pattern. That's my most important thing. Like, I still haven't looked at moving averages. I haven't looked at anything else. Everything else is irrelevant to me. Those are the most important parts. Then I look at sequential. What's sequential doing? Then I look at moving averages. What are the moving averages doing? Okay. Then at the moment, since I have the Lucid SAR up, I will probably look at the Lucid SAR. Then I would look at the RSI. Then I would look at the MACD. If there is other crap on the chart, it is almost irrelevant. But it's there. I'm curious about it, but it's not going to sway my decision. The first 2 to 3 things takes all the is 90% of my decision making. Okay, so just because I have I don't like having too much. This is about as complicated as my chart gets. But just because a person, you can look at a person's chart and it looks completely hectic and insane. Keep in mind that person could be looking at some of that stuff and is actually not really caring about most of it. So you have to understand what the hierarchy is and how much more important one thing is over another. Good question. Next, Tone, what do you think about the CME gap? I don't think about the CME gap. I couldn't care less. Let's move on. Yes, stream was frozen for a second. We're good now. I already looked at CCL. Thank you, Med, for your super chat. Someone is saying, Tone, what about Joe 007? I couldn't care less who or what Joe 007 is. I think it's that guy that got wrecked in trading because he was on the wrong side of the trade. And if you go by Joe 007 and no one knows who you are, I don't care who you are. It's irrelevant to me. Like, I don't look, you can protect your identity, but if you're fully anonymous and like, I don't really unless you're coding and you can be code verifiably, I don't care. I don't care about anonymous people, guys. I really don't, other than Satoshi. Tone, why do you say that 0.1% funding favors the bears on Bitcoin? It's the default funding when there's no premium on price. So it doesn't favor the bears all that much. So then it's neutral. Guys, I haven't traded. I don't trade on BitMax, so I didn't know it was 0.01%. I just look at the chart and how it's relative. So it's neutral. So it's neither favoring the bulls nor the bears. How are you still so bullish on Bitcoin? We just hit your top side most likely target for the year. Well, because I have a brain. Why am I so bullish on Bitcoin? Because the price is telling me to. People on the internet seem to think that just because I said 8 years ago that Bitcoin will top at 10,000 in the year 2080, and we hit 10,000 6 months later, that I have to stick to my target and I can't change my mind. The reason why I'm bullish on Bitcoin is because with every second that goes by, with every price tick, with every trade, I reevaluate everything when it comes to what I think about Bitcoin. And as a trader, if you do not reevaluate your decisions with every tick, you will fail. So those of you that are still saying Tone is expecting 1,300, you are the bad trader that doesn't know what he's doing, because I have not expected 1,300 in a long time. And I don't think it's going to happen. Can it still happen? Of course. Bitcoin can go to zero. Bitcoin potentially can go to negative, like oil did. Anything in the markets can happen. Okay. We can discuss how Bitcoin can go to a negative, but not on this stream. Hey, Tone, what do you think? Oh, yeah, that's the, I don't, there are lots of things I don't think about. I just don't waste my brain cells on shit coins, and I don't waste my brain cells on an anonymous handle Joe 007. I just don't care. I just don't care. It's kind of like, it doesn't matter if you're at the top BitMax trader. Like, it matters for your reputation, I guess, but it doesn't matter to me. So if a person pays me my 0.1 per hour consulting rate, I don't care if that person has $1,000 or $100 million. Like, I will treat them equally because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you're trading. The market is the market. You're not bigger than the market. The reason he disappeared is probably because he got wrecked. He tried to swing it into his favor by writing articles that Bitcoin needs to pull back because he was probably in an over-leveraged position. Tone, what happens first? S&P to 3,100 or Bitcoin to 14,000? Oh boy. That's a hard question. I honestly don't know. I think Bitcoin to 14,000 is more likely than S&P to 3,100. But I have no idea. Hey Tone, hope you're well. Can you please give me your opinion of chart of ZFM 2020? I have no idea what that is. Daily and 4 hour. Thank you for all the years of education. You are welcome, good sir. All right, let's take a look. I have no idea what this is. ZFM 2020. What is that? The 5-year note future. Ah, I see. Okay. Well, why don't I just do ZF? And I'll take the nearest expiration. I should probably add that into my you gonna open or what? What's going on? Am I frozen again? Why don't these want to open? That opened. It doesn't work. But now I can't close it. Now it's frozen. I don't know. Here we go. Finally. I don't know what the delay is. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at here. So this is probably the price of the 5-year note. So when the price of the 5-year note's rising, the rate's falling. Let's go to commodities or bonds yields. I should probably put it here. So I can do 5-year note. Interesting. I guess I can put the future in here, but I want the rate. I want the interest rate. 5-year note. I want the yield though. All right, well, we'll put the future in here. How do I get the yield? Oh, it's probably DGS5. There it is. So look at the rate. The rate's going down. Going down. Oh, my sequential won't work here. Ah, too bad. But it'll work on this. It looks great for a rise. It looks like the yield's gonna fall. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, this is a gorgeous triangle, just waiting to break out. Look at that. Look at that. It's not perfect, but it's definitely in the breakout zone. I am bearish the yield and bullish the notes. How about the 10-year? Same thing. I need to look at refinancing my condo. TLT. I'm expecting TLT isn't doing too well. See, I don't get this. Why is TLT nowhere near the top when the rate is near the low? Wait, is TLT, what maturity is TLT? Oh, TLT is 20 plus. That's the 10-year. Okay, that's probably why. The 10-year is near the low. Oh no, my desk is moving again. Okay. The rate's near the low. There we go. So I think the rate's going lower. Well, I think we'll have deflation. I think the rate's going lower. Okay. The 4 hour doesn't really matter. I mean, why would you want a 4-hour? It's the yield. It doesn't change that much. But we can look at the daily, we can look at the weekly. I think the yield's not bottomed yet. All right, I got a bunch of more questions, but let me take a little break from questions. Let's talk about Paul Tudor Jones. Okay, so an article in Bloomberg from the other day says Paul Tudor Jones buys Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. The article is great. Here's my problem with Paul Tudor Jones. There is not going to be any inflation. It's crazy for me to disagree with Paul Tudor Jones, but I don't see inflation. I haven't seen inflation in a long time. I have not. I've been, as long as you guys have known me, since the day I came out being a public person in 2014, I have been anti-deflationist and anti-inflationist, anticipating deflation. I remain anticipating deflation in the US. In the US, if you're a developing nation, you are in trouble. You may have a lot of inflation, but he's also in the US. So he's supposed to hedge US markets. But just because you are buying something to prevent X and X doesn't happen, doesn't mean that buying whatever you bought is a bad idea. So everything that he says is actually really, really good. And he seems to understand Bitcoin very, very well. If you just read his quotes, the best profit maximizing strategy is to own the fastest horse. If I am forced to forecast, my bet is still with Bitcoin. Let's move on. It has happened globally with much speed than even a market. A veteran like myself was left speechless. We are witnessing the great monetary inflation. Maybe in the US, they're not printing enough. Unprecedented expansion of every form of money, unlike anything the developed world has ever seen. That is true, but we also just witnessed one of the greatest destruction of wealth we also have ever seen. I don't think wealth has been destroyed this quickly in a month span with the shutdown of the economy. So the money that they're printing is not even covering the destruction of wealth that took place. So there are that doesn't mean I disagree with him buying Bitcoin. He seems to understand Bitcoin very, very well. I am not a hard money nor a crypto nut. That I'm very happy to hear that. The most compelling argument for owning Bitcoin is the coming digitization. I think it should be an L there somewhere. Digitization of currency everywhere, accelerated by COVID. This is the most important thing that he's actually saying. Here's the thing. He's not just buying it to hedge against inflation. He's also witnessing the destruction of physical cash. The digitalization of currency is the elimination of physical cash. They will make shit up like cash spreads corona, and we have to eliminate cash. His investment into Bitcoin will pay off big time, not because of inflation, but because of this, and probably the euro common currency breakup. How reasonable is it to expect that in the recovery phase, the Fed will be able to deliver an increase in interest rates of a magnitude sufficient to suck back the money in so easily printed during the downswing? Again, I have to disagree. It doesn't matter what the Fed rate is. I don't know if I want to get into this tangent, but please, this is where I don't always agree with Martin Armstrong, but this is where Martin Armstrong is right. The Fed interest rate doesn't really matter. Here's what I'm going to quote Martin Armstrong here. If, say, the rate was 6% versus 1%, if you think that you could earn 10% somewhere, you will borrow at 6%. But if you don't feel like you could earn 2% somewhere, you will not borrow at 1%. So dropping the rate from 6% to 1% by the Fed is completely irrelevant. It's all about what people think they can do with that money. And if you think you can do well with that money under 6%, you'll borrow at 6. But if you don't know what to do with that money at 1%, you're not going to borrow it at 1% because you don't know what to do with the money. And if banks feel that you will not be able to repay a 1% debt, they're not going to lend it to you. But if they feel that you can repay a 6% debt, they will lend it to you. Okay. So Fed swinging interest rates from 1% to 5% is really irrelevant. When we get into that 18-20% range, things are different. But anything the Fed does between 1% and 6% is completely irrelevant, guys. It doesn't matter. It creates speculation, but because people think that other people will think that other people will think. But in reality, it doesn't matter. That's not why people speculate. That's not why people invest. Like, trust me, if you wanted to buy a house right now, whether they give you a 3% loan for your 30-year mortgage or a 6% loan for your 30-year mortgage, that is not the deal breaker of you buying a house. It might be a deal breaker of you refinancing a house. Like, I will not refinance my loan unless I can get a full 2 percentage points lower, minimum, preferably 3. Otherwise, I'm not refinancing. But if you're a purchaser of a house, you buying that house at the price of that house, do you need the house? How big of a house do you need? How much are you going to pay for that house? None of that is factored into the interest rate, whether it's 3%, 4%, 5%. Okay. The important decision is, are you going to buy the house? Okay. So it's great. I thought I was gonna. I just slightly disagree with him on some of the economics, but I'm happy that he's buying Bitcoin. He also mentioned gold could pop to 2,400. That'd be great. I can't wait to sell my gold above 3,000. Maybe it'll go that high. Maybe it'll reach this area here. So here's another one. Yeah, shout out to Zender, who I actually met when I was traveling to Eastern Europe, who tweeted out the actual picture of what Paul Tudor Jones wrote in his letter. Here's what he wrote. He's revisiting Bitcoin. It falls into a category of a store of value. Look at that. Paul Tudor Jones, the 60 or 70-year-old Paul Tudor Jones, understands Bitcoin better than shitcoiners, better than Roger Ver. He understands it. He understands Bitcoin better. Amazing. Ooh. Hey, Roger, might be time for an update. Purse.io no longer exists. And I wouldn't be proud of this. They're the reason why the transactions are high, but I guess you're proud of that. But you may want to remove that. Oh, investor in Ripple. That figures. And Zcash. Wow. Haven't looked at his profile in a while. Yeah, this isn't good. This isn't good. You've invested in more shitcoin companies than Bitcoin companies. That's unfortunate. Oh, well. All right, let's get back to the important part. So the average Bitcoin transaction takes around 60 minutes. Actually, at the moment, the transaction fee is incredibly high, and the mempool is very congested. I have no idea why, but we're going to discuss it on a Monday stream with Jimmy Song and hopefully other experts. The Bitcoin transaction takes around 60 minutes to complete, which makes it near money. Correct. It's still way better than gold and still better than credit cards because they take months to complete because there's chargebacks. It must compete with other stores of value, such as financial assets, gold, and fiat currency, and less liquid ones, such as art, precious stones, and land. I think precious stones are a terrible store of value. I'm actually disappointed he put it there. No. The question facing every investor is, what will be the winner in 10 years' time? At the end of the day, the best profit maximizing strategy is to own the fastest horse, just own the best performer and not get wed to an intellectual side that might leave you weeping in the performance dust because you thought you were smarter than the market. If I am forced to forecast, my bet is it will be Bitcoin. Notice it's not shitcoin. Notice that it's Bitcoin. Paul Tudor Jones is a very, very smart man, and he's a great investor. And good job. Call Peter Schiff, please, and explain it to him. Okay. I'm pretty sure Peter Schiff will listen to Paul Tudor Jones. All right. Let's look at the price. I'm sure nothing's changed. We are actually not very volatile right now. We are at 1,250 viewers. Please hit those likes. Please hit the subscribe button. I'm still trying to get to 100,000 subscribers and would love to get 500 likes per video, at least half the likes versus the number of live viewers. Thank you guys for all that. Okay, let's go back to your questions, but I do want to end the stream relatively quickly. Guys, please check out the affiliate page. I don't have my Embly card on my desk, but lots of cool stuff here, including TradingView. I gotta get the CEO back on the line. I might do an interview with 3 Commas, the social trading application, so you guys can see what it looks like. Got to clean up this page. Lots of work to do. I'll get to it. If the Financial Summit is an event for you, please read over the description and join us in Bali, Indonesia in November. And if understanding Bitcoin is the event for you because you want to learn how to use Bitcoin better, we got to update the speaker list. These were all last year's speakers and moderators and organizers, and hopefully we'll get all of them back in October. All right, let's go back to your questions. What about the divergence on the 12-hour RSI? Well, I took a look at the 4-hour RSI and I talked about the divergence. We can look at the 12-hour chart. I haven't looked at the 12-hour chart in a while. I had too many charts on. The 12-hour chart never made it to a 9. Same divergence? No. The 12-hour chart has much bigger divergence from the prior swing high of 9. Oh, yeah, it's the same swing high, the 9,000 swing high. Yeah, it's the same divergence as the 4-hour chart. But it's only in the RSI. It's not important enough, guys. It's not important enough. Remember the transition, right? Weekly. Then in this case, it would be daily. Now we're looking at the 12-hour. What is the 12-hour doing? What are the candles doing? What is sequential doing? What are the moving averages doing? What is the Lucid SAR doing, which I don't even have up? And then we'll get to the RSI. So it's not as important as other things. Now, the 12-hour chart is, of course, pulling back, which is in line with the RSI and the daily chart. So, but divergence itself on one oscillator is not enough for me to act upon. All right, let's move on. Any opportunity to invest in water somehow? I don't know why you want to invest in water. Contrary to the gloom and doomers and the global warmists and people that want to kill half the population, like Thanos, because they're crazy about man-made climate change, which I don't believe in. Well, it's not I don't believe in. Scientifically, it doesn't make any sense at all. Man-made climate change makes absolutely no scientific sense. Please look at real scientists that aren't funded by governments and those that want to enslave you. Climate change is a natural phenomenon. Humans cause pollution. Humans cause a lot of damage to the environment, but that damage does not translate into climate change. Climate change is natural beyond our ability to mess with it. We cause pollution. We can kill each other. We can destroy an entire country. We can make a continent unlivable, but that's not what climate change is. That is destructive pollution. Please learn the difference. I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but one of these days, I really wanted to do this fireside chat about climate change with Tyler Jenks. Unfortunately, I will not get the chance. I'm not sure I'll ever do a full video on climate change. I also don't want to get my YouTube channel banned for talking about science. Clearly, we're back in the 1600s. I do have a degree in science. Before I got my degree in financial engineering, I do have a degree in science. So I'm not talking completely out of my ass. All right. I have a degree in geology, to those that are wondering. Okay. Where's the question going? Is there an opportunity to invest in water? You don't want to invest in water. It's not a very good investment. And the reason why it's not a good investment is because if the economy eventually opens up, people will get back to doing what they're doing, which is innovating. And innovation will be able to clean water. We already have innovation that will turn the most horrible water into actual drinking water. And these innovations are slow to market. They are expensive. They are hampered by patent laws. So it'll take a while. But I don't believe there is actually there isn't as much of a water shortage as people think. Sure, locally in a small area, there are droughts. So obviously there is water shortages. But I'm a believer in technology. And yes, there are regions of the world where water is scarce. But the planet is 70% water. Again, my geology degree is coming in handy. And yes, most of that water is not drinkable. Like what, 98, 97, 98% of that water is not drinkable. But that doesn't mean that you can't turn salt water into drinkable water. And the answer is you could. There are desalination plants that can do it. So I don't think water is a good long-term investment because we have the technology to clean the water. Now, going back to the climate change versus pollution, pollution is bad. The more we pollute the environment, let's say the more polluted our rainwater is. If we can hold back on pollution, our rainwater is cleaner. Now, it's actually illegal to collect rainwater in developed parts of the world. The reason why it's illegal to collect rainwater is because government wants to profit on selling you water. Guys, if you get rid of dumb regulation and you allow people to innovate, there should not be a shortage of water. I'm a believer in technology and innovation. Man, I'm going to be very controversial this episode. Okay. Yeah, you may want to invest in ice on Mars. That's probably kind of scarce. Maybe not the ice, but like war. You may want to invest in, instead of investing in water, you want to look for investing in cleaning water technology. Why are people honking horns? You may want to invest in clean water technology that cleans water. Much better bet. Okay. Which strategy do you prefer? 3-bar play or moving average crossover? Neither. Lower time frame going above higher time frame. Also, do you prefer 2-to-1 or I don't know what any of that 3-to-1 profit? Guys, I don't have a profit target. Anytime I enter a trade, my profit target is Lambo. It doesn't matter what that trade is. Anytime I enter a trade, my profit target is Lambo. If it's moving in my direction, I will take it. I got out of Bitcoin because it hit a resistance level. If it blew through that resistance level, I would have stayed with it. Okay. So I don't have targets when I enter my trades. I only have stop losses. I can quantify. Oh God, now I'm listening to people argue. I can quantify my risk. I can't quantify my gain. I can enter a trade only looking for a 10% gain if I'm confident that that trade is going up. I could also I don't trade that way. Moving average crossover has to happen in a certain way. Let me look for an example. This is a moving average crossover that I care about. The moving average crossover happened as the price was inside the moving average crossover. Same thing here. Beautiful moving average crossover, and the price is inside the moving average crossover, which is what I want. This moving average crossover matters to my trading. Maybe not on a 12-hour chart. Let's go to the daily maybe or weekly. This moving average crossover doesn't really matter to me. The reason why it doesn't matter to me is because, first of all, they're running in parallel. And second of all, the price is way above the moving average. So now I'm expecting a pullback. This moving average crossover is more irrelevant to me because the price is nowhere near them. So it really depends on what the moving average is taking place and how it's happening. Just because it's a moving average crossover, it could be totally irrelevant. So there's no specific strategy that's involved. 3-bar play, I don't know what that is. So sorry, can't answer. Next, do you really think BitMEX funding rate matters anymore? Yeah, it does. Oh, big time. Because Binance futures doubled BitMEX's volume. Well, then the Binance side matters too. But it doesn't matter. It shows you which side of the market people are. Don't you think it's an important shift and something to consider? Well, yeah, you should take a look. You should keep an eye on it as well. Thank you for the support, EK. Of course, if there is, but it doesn't matter. Even if BitMEX is no longer the dominant futures exchange, it's still showing you that the traders on that exchange were leaning bearish all throughout the rise and leaning bullish all throughout the pump. So it just tells you that the traders on their exchange are generally on the wrong side of the market right here. Right. So right now, I guess we're neutral. But I still think it's leaning. It's got to lean like it doesn't have to lean anywhere. See this one right here? This one is pretty much even. So people are leaning bullish still. And therefore, it still matters, even if it's not the most dominant one. All right, next. Tone, can you explain how anyone can be bullish Bitcoin with only 13% of the coins remaining? What do you mean? I don't understand the question. How could anybody be bullish Bitcoin with only 13% of the coins remaining? I mean, would you rather be bullish Bitcoin with 99% of the coins remaining? Like, look at Ripple. They have like 60% of the coins remaining by held by one guy or one corporation. I mean, that's what makes Bitcoin bullish. The fact that there's no more Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is scaling. It will scale with Lightning and others. That is the reason why it's bullish. Like, I don't understand. Like, we just spent, like, Paul Tudor Jones, one of the most respected investors in the world, is talking about how the government's printing too much money. And your question is, there's not enough Bitcoin being printed, so why are you bullish? He is bearish the dollar because the Fed is printing too much, which I disagree with because I don't think the Fed is printing enough to be bearish the dollar. I need the Fed to announce tomorrow we will print $10 trillion, and I'm going to say, yeah, we might have a little inflation. Until I hear that, they're not printing enough. And your question implies that Bitcoin is not printing enough, and that's why you shouldn't be bullish. I'm sorry, I don't get it at all. This is the reason to be bullish, not the other way around. I thought you sent a super chat. I thought I sent a super chat. Tone, your opinion on the destiny of banks and timeframes for the place. I don't understand your question. Your opinion on the destiny of banks and time frame. The destiny of banks? Banks will continue to do their job of, okay. I'm going to get scolded for this statement. Banks have a job. Banks connect those that want to save their money with those that want to borrow money. Now, banks also have a job of protecting your money. Coinbase is a bank. It's a Bitcoin bank. You don't need a Bitcoin bank. You can be your own bank. But a lot of people don't want to be their own bank. So in a world without government regulation and in a world of Bitcoin, banks will still exist. And a lot of people will trust their Bitcoin to banks. and banks will give you a return on that Bitcoin by lending that Bitcoin out. That is the function of a bank, the root function of a bank. And the bank can still do that function, even without, rehypothecation. But I have no idea banks will always exist. Banks exist in the Bitcoin space. Look at Coinbase. They're a bank. They're a bank that lets you buy Bitcoin. What does Mark Armstrong think about negative interest rates? Well, same thing I think about negative interest rates, that the government is crazy and people don't want to let the government hold their money in negative interest rates. So when the government goes to negative interest rates, people move the money out of the bank. And this is why the government wants to eliminate cash, because it becomes harder to move your money out of the bank if there's no physical cash, because then you have to spend that money. And if you spend that money on gold or art or anything else, they're going to know what you bought because you have to register those items. So negative interest rates also prevent the older population from financing their life. Because if you're older, you don't want to invest in risky stocks. So you have to invest in bonds. And if bonds don't give you any yield, you're kind of screwed. Inflation is still happening, but you're not earning anything. So it hurts the retired people. The younger people take their money out and invest it in things that you don't get. It's beautiful for Bitcoin. So I mean, we can go on and on and on. Negative interest rates, they'll make you use your money. It doesn't mean they're going to generate the economy. I think that's silly. Can you look at Bitcoin Heikin-Ashi? Well, you didn't provide a time frame. I usually look at Bitcoin Heikin-Ashi only on a monthly scale. And on a monthly scale, Heikin-Ashi is bullish. It's also a green 2 above a green 1. Heikin-Ashi has done well. It topped in 2017. It bottomed in 2018 in December beautifully. And right now, Heikin-Ashi is bullish. I've never looked at Heikin-Ashi on a weekly chart. We can take a look and see what it looks like. It looks very, very bullish, but it's holding the trend line. I have not moved the trend line. The trend line is just as good on Heikin-Ashi as it is on the regular chart. I can even adjust it, actually. I can actually move this to here, and I can raise the other side, but I'll leave it as is because I don't want to mess up the daily chart, which I probably already did anyway. But the Heikin-Ashi looks very bullish on the weekly. We can go and take a look at it on the daily. The Heikin-Ashi on the daily is bullish. We're on an 8 of 9, just like the regular candles. And the next 9, if we get it, could actually come with a 13 on it. Nice. Heikin-Ashi looks bullish. Okay. Oh man, questions keep on coming. All right, everything Star Wars. How are you, buddy? When are you free to live stream with me? We'll do it. We'll do a live stream, man. I'm gonna get on your channel. I have not. I'm gonna have to drink half a bottle of tequila to force myself to watch episode 8 of Star Wars. I've watched episode 7. I thought it might have been the worst movie I have ever seen, possibly in my life since I was a child. And after watching episode 7, The Force Awakens, I swore I would never watch another Star Wars movie ever again. Thank God Rogue One was a very good movie. So I did see that. And I'm not going to say who I saw it with. Let me not dox people. I don't know if you want to be doxed. Let me know. But you can say it in the chat. But Rogue One was excellent. probably one of the best within the Star Wars series. It's definitely up there. But episode 7 was so bad, I never even considered watching episode 8. And therefore, I will never watch episode 9 because I'm not going to watch episode 9 until I watch episode 8. But getting me to watch episode 8 is not going to be easy because of how bad episode 7 was. And I also saw Solo, and that was pretty bad too, but nowhere near as bad as episode 7. And my friends, so I was on another comic book podcast. It's called The Sire, and we were talking Star Wars on that podcast. And we actually debated. So my friend hosts that podcast, and his co-host hated episode 7, but my friend liked episode 7. And I hated episode 7. So we were debating episode 7 on that podcast. And this is before episode 8 even came out. I was on that podcast. And where was I going with this? And he was defending episode 7. And then he messaged me after watching episode 8 and said, episode 8 was terrible. Don't watch it. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't planning to based on how bad 7 was. So I'm very disappointed. Disney has grossly failed. J.J. Abrams has grossly failed. And I forgot who the writer was. I hope it wasn't also J.J. Abrams. Anyway, so I need to catch up on the Star Wars cartoons. I need to the new ones. I thought Star Wars Rebels was pretty bad. The Clone Wars was good, actually. I would recommend the Clone Wars. Rebels, I saw a few episodes, and I'll try to finish that. I have no idea how Mandalorian is. I hope it's good. I don't know. But I would need to catch up on all that. Maybe if I'm still in quarantine, I'll catch up and then we'll do a podcast, man. Yeah, so there's it looks like people are agreeing that 8 and 9 are even more garbage. Again, I'm not sure how that's possible. I don't know how it's possible to be worse than episode 7, but I guess they pulled it off with episodes 8 and 9. Disney destroys everything they touch. Yes, that is true. However, Rogue One was good. I mean, I think Disney already had the rights. So whoever directed and wrote that one, they did a great job. All right, next. No, banks create money. Double entry booking. Well, they create money now, but like they don't have to create money. Tone, is it possible that the reason of this transaction fee rise caused by CoinJoin? I don't know. I have no idea. I cannot explain it. Look, what we can do is all I can do is go to Willy Woo. All I can do is go to Woobull. All I could do is go to Willy's charts and open the chart that I commissioned from Willy, which is awesome for my presentations. And we're gonna go right to Bitcoin Network Momentum, maybe? Let's just go here. Look, all I can do is go right here. Bitcoin SegWit adoption or network throughput. I don't remember which one. This one, Bitcoin SegWit adoption. And SegWit adoption has cratered from what looks to be almost 60% down to 46%. And this is causing horrendous effects on Bitcoin transactions. It is basically making transactions unreasonably expensive, and it's making transactions unreasonably slow. And that's not the fault of the Bitcoin network. That is the fault of the Bitcoin network users that should be using SegWit. The biggest piece of shit company in Bitcoin space, besides Bitcoin.com, of course, is blockchain.info. Blockchain.info, please, if you have a blockchain.info wallet, please like move your Bitcoin out of this garbage company. Talk shit about it all over social media. Don't ever let anyone else use it. Refuse to send Bitcoin to anyone using blockchain.com wallet or bitcoin.com wallet. And don't use it because they still don't have SegWit. They claim to be the most popular wallet in the space and they don't have SegWit. I can't explain why this is happening. I'm going to message Adam back. I'll try to get him on the show. Jimmy Song, maybe, Giacomo, like if you are an expert in the field and you're watching this and you can explain why SegWit adoption has cratered from 60% down to 46, please come on the show on Monday and explain it to us, because I am dying to know what the hell's going on. I've been using SegWit for a while. I messaged one of the wallets that I used late last night, messaged the CEO directly, and I said, when are you getting native SegWit? As much as I still recommend your wallet, as of next week, I will never use or recommend your wallet again unless you add native SegWit into that wallet or give us a timeline, a reasonable timeline of when you're going to add native SegWit. If you can use a native SegWit wallet, please use it. Samurai, Blockstream Green, they're native SegWit wallets. Please use a native SegWit wallet. All right. So everything Star Wars agrees with what I said. Man, it's hard for me not to call you by your actual real name, man. All right. Yeah, I like that. So, someone referred to it as blockchain.shit. If the blockchain.shit URL doesn't exist, if someone creates it, please redirect it to blockchain.info, because that's exactly what it is. Doesn't go anywhere. If that is a domain, please redirect it to blockchain.info. Ask Andreas. I can ask Andreas. I don't know if Andreas is an expert on why SegWit is going down. Like, you might be. All right. I think I'm done with your questions, guys. I think this is it. I'm going to take a break. I got a lot of work to do. I got to promote the Monday stream. Still have 1,200 viewers. 2 likes away. I'm 2 likes away from 500. Come on, guys. Give me those 2 likes before I get off the stream. Please support with the affiliate page. Embly Card Traders launching this weekend or today. It's up for registrations. You get a 2-week free trial if you're interested in order book visualization that Joe Saz uses. Of course, you have choices from Bybit. LVL is going to be a banking services as well with LVL coming very soon. Please check these out. I got to get my Amazon list back up. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I think that's it for me. Let's keep an eye on the halving clock. We'll see when the halving is. My computer is always on Eastern time, no matter where I am in the world, because I trade traditional markets. 2 days, 5 hours, 15 minutes away. So that makes it 4 p.m. Eastern plus 5 hours makes it 9 p.m. Eastern plus 2 days. So far, Monday, 9 p.m. I don't know if that's the most accurate clock. Let's look at Bitcoin halving clock. It's got to be another one, or a countdown. I try. Oh, I misspelled Bitcoin. Perfect, Tone. Nope, that's the same one. All right. What about this one? All right, here's another one. 2 days, 7 hours, not 5 hours. This one is different. Oh boy. So we will see. We will see. I don't know which one's more accurate. They're 2 hours apart from each other. So date May 12th, 3 a.m. UTC time. Okay. So they're a little different. The other one looks cooler. I should have them both on. I should have them both. I should keep an eye on both. Should keep an eye on both. We're going to have this one and we're going to have this one. And CoinMarketCap has a countdown. 2 days, 8 hours, even further away. Oh my God. So this one is 7 and this one is 5. Wow. Okay, this one is even further. All right. So I have no idea when the stream's going to start. That kind of sucks. Okay. Well, as we get closer, I think they're all going to be in line eventually. All right, guys. I'll leave all 3 of them on just in case to keep an eye. I'll find a halving video from last year and I will, or if somebody has found it and wants to throw it in the live chat as an admin, please do. I will tweet that out for you guys to watch. In the meantime, no videos tomorrow. I'm taking a break and I'll see you for the nice long one on Monday. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all back here for the halving show. Bye, guys.